Since the release of Build 42, almost over a year ago, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't yet explored the new locations added to the map. In these next 365 days, that's the least I plan to do. So join me in Rosewood, July 9th, 1993, the place where my journey started. And by the way, this is how I die. After staring at the occupations page for, quite frankly, an unreasonable amount of time, here are the traits I came to the conclusion of using. And for reference, I'm not using any mods. Spawning in Apocalypse game mode, the first thing as always is to check the TV for Life and Living. The cooking show was playing, so I was sure to watch that, and it granted me level 1 in my cooking skill. Shortly after, I found a sheet in the laundry room. Using my minimal rope tying experience, I crafted a sling bag. Seems like summer camp finally paid off. I checked the kitchen for food, but there's loot everywhere, so I wasn't too bothered about grabbing it just now. Moving into the basement, I found your usual things like tools and planks, but in the back right corner there was weapon crates where I found my first pistol. I left it and all the other tools I found there for now, as I wanted to get my base set up and then move in all the loot afterwards. Moving upstairs, I didn't find much. However, I did find an eraser, which I like to carry around with me as I find myself using the in-game map quite a lot. Finally, after looting the spawn house, I made my way outside to find my first zombie, which unfortunately got caught in a fence, which means my foot was able to show its way to its final demise. Though I didn't want to loot much, I didn't yet have a weapon, so I went into the garage, luckily found a wrench which I attached to my tool belt. With the addition of all the new brooches, I'm trying to get into the habit of inspecting them every time I can, just to add more POIs to the map for me to investigate later. Something I'm very conscious about during the first fortnight of playing the game is making sure I watch all the Life and Living programs, as I can't face it if I've missed out on some skill points. So you'll notice it's a running theme throughout the beginning of this series that I will be hanging around houses for quite a long time, waiting until 12 or 6 AM or PM, just to make sure I don't miss it. Usually when I play Project Zomboid, I like to use a 6-month later save type, as I find it more challenging. Along with that, it makes it so that loot spawns are much lower and they're already rotten, meaning I never get an opportunity to eat cereal like I am now. Something I didn't realise is that you can make bowls of cereal and it will create more food points than the amount of food you put into it, so I enjoyed a delectable bowl of cereal whilst levelling up my carpentry to level 1. Later on that day, I unfortunately set off a house alarm, so I sprinted far away from there. Towards the church, one of the places I think would be a great location for a base. Here I got myself a lovely black backpack, courtesy of this Zomboid. After which, it was 6 PM, so I sprinted to the closest house to get on Life and Living, which got me to level 1 in fishing. The next notable thing has got to be this van I found. Of course, it's the largest van in the game with the most item storage. Not only that, when I first got into it, it had its keys in the ignition, and it had a lot of loot in the boot, including 2 duffel bags, one of which had a gas can in it, which also happened to be full of fuel. This means I found a van with the key, full of fuel, with good engine quality. This was a rather lucky find if you ask me. Of course, whilst trying to push towards the church to scope out potential base locations, I looted the nearby cars, which happened to set off an alarm. So I ran back to the house I was just at and carried on looting for a bit longer whilst the alarm finished going off. I then worked back towards the parking lot, killing all the zombies that had come over. After thinning out the constant herd of zombies that keep on coming my way, I went to the next house and found myself a nice leather jacket. After which, I came across a boatload of bucks, which I was sure to take the location down of, and once I've got the base set up, I'll come back and collect them. However, for tonight, this is where I called it. Starting off the day, I had a bowl of cereal in front of the TV watching Life and Living, leveling up my cooking skill to level 2. Afterwards, I went over to the church. As for me, the church seems like an ideal candidate for a good base location, centre of Rosewood, with access to land right beside it. Upstairs is the place I had in mind for the potential living areas of the base. Next, I wanted to kill all the zomboids surrounding the church, as I didn't want to risk them breaking the windows and wandering upstairs whilst I was sleeping. Within this horde of zombies, there was one of them that had a machete in his back and some kind of ski mask on his face. Now, while I didn't want to wear the ski mask or use the machete with such low maintenance level, of course I was very willing to take them both. Heading back to the base with my pockets full from zombie loot, I finally got to turn it into a bit more of a home by scattering out my loot on the tables. After distributing my loot, I headed back towards the closest house which had a TV, because it was coming up to 12 o'clock, which means Life and Living time. I borrowed the TV, the couch and the carpet for my own house because, quite frankly, I liked the look of it. I couldn't decide where to put the TV, so I put it right in the centre of the room, with all the chairs looking at it, which is a bit weirder in retrospect, but let's go with it. Whilst looting, I was sure to collect some mops, as you can take the handles of them and turn them into spears. Afterwards, I headed downstairs to the car park to try it out. In one of the houses closest to the church, I found yet another storage room jam-packed full with books. After I got back, I set up a few cardboard boxes I got from the book rooms as the first proper bit of storage in the base. I stole the neighbour's mini fridge, which will have to do until I have electrical level 3, I think, which is what you need to install fridges. After sorting through a bit more loot, I went to bed for that night. Unfortunately, until I level up my carpentry to a higher level, I'll have to sleep on this sofa, as I can't move a bed. I then went outside to find even more zomboids had moved into the parking lot. After, I went to the nearby transit van, which had the gasoline in it, and filled it up. After gathering the rest of the loot from the house, and picking up some cardboard boxes to use as storage, I drove the van back to the church, and began to move and sort the loot upstairs. From the house, I also grabbed some more industrial storage and lighting solutions. I then spent the rest of the day sorting through the items a bit more, making the base a bit more organised. On the morning of the 12th, I found this annotated map. I'm super excited to head over there to see what this could be. For the rest of the morning, I spent my time working from house to house, taking all the relevant loot and then marking it off the map as looted. Exploring the basement of this house was great, as not only did I find 3 freezer chests that I'd be able to carry and put back in my base, they also had venison meat inside of them, and the basement had loads of ammo, as you can see. Unfortunately, it didn't have any weapons, but the ammo was a great start. I took all the meat and grabbed one of the freezers. When I got back to the base, I spent some time organising and sorting through all the loot. Somehow a Zomboid had made its way up to the base. I need to repair all the doors and windows to ensure this doesn't happen again. I then spent some time reading through electrical level 1 and dismantled all the watches that I'd been collecting so far. I thought I might as well do the same for tailoring, so I went outside to the battlefield, collected up all the denim and leather clothing I could find, head back to the base and tore them all up. Then I called it there for today. On the morning of the 13th, after watching Life and Living and leveling up my cooking skill, I headed towards the fire station because I wanted to gather as many axes as possible. On my way over, I found a How to Use a Generator magazine. After looting, I headed back home to stash away all the fire axes I'd collected. Just before I headed out to use the axes, I watched Life and Living and managed to get carpentry to level 3, meaning I can make water collectors. To begin, I started by chopping down all the trees in the area that I wanted to section off and turn into a farming area. Afterwards, I sawed up all the logs and got to work building the soon-to-be sectioned off area. Unfortunately, I ran out of nails pretty soon, as I had only found 1 box of nails so far. I went to go and loot some nearby shops for some more food, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to go on a looting run and collect some more nails. After that, I just headed home, sorted out the loot and went to bed for the night. On the morning of the 14th, I headed out to find some more nails. I went to this house specifically because I saw it in a YouTube video a couple days ago, and to be honest I thought all the plots would have crops on them, but it seems they don't, so I'm going to have to look for seeds elsewhere when I want to begin farming. Along with a bunch of other loot I found, thankfully I did find a box of nails. I went to the houses just out of town to see if they would have any more nails, Unfortunately, all I found is zomboids. Travelling back into town, I found some more nails in the residential area. I also found a generator, which I marked the location of. After finding that second box of nails, I headed back to the base and sorted through all the loot. After that, I headed back outside to continue building the wall. Then, I almost missed Life and Living. Luckily, I saw it playing upstairs, sprinted up there, and caught the trapping video, which is great because I didn't even have level 1 in trapping, and without it, you can't make any traps. Afterwards, I finished building the sectioned off area outside, and used the remaining planks I had to border up the windows out front. First thing I did on the morning of the 15th was scope out potential places that might have seeds. The places I looked for was farmhouses and barns, as well as house garages and garden sheds. It's safe to say that I absolutely rinsed these POIs for all the loot that they had, so I'm just going to skip through these and you can see what kind of loot I was getting. I was mainly looking for cabbage seeds and potato seeds. Unfortunately, I could only find cabbage seeds. I also grabbed some animal food bags, as in the future I want to keep chickens and pigs. Well, to be honest, I want to keep all the animals, but chickens to begin with. Driving back, I saw one of those car theatres, and I wanted to check it out, see if there was anything cool. I think it's one of the new POIs to Rosewood, as I've never seen it before. When I got back, once again, I sorted through all the loot. I can't even remember where I got this plant from. I think it was from one of the farmhouses, but I'm liking it. It's turning into a jungle in this place. After finally sorting through all my loot, I could go outside and start planting the seeds I'd collected. I made a row of 5 of broccoli and a row of 5 of cabbage. Unfortunately, I can't make the row of 5 of potatoes. But I will if I find the seeds for them. After that, I headed into town to level up my electrical skill. I want to get to level 3 so I can move in a hob and a fridge and other electrical appliances into my house. By the time I had got to electrical level 2, it was 1:40 in the morning, so I headed off to bed without an alarm set because I've already got cooking level 3, and with the new update you can't get any more XP on the VHS tapes. Luckily, on the morning of the 16th, it was raining, which means I wouldn't have to water the crops. First thing I did was read the second electrical book, and then I headed back out to get electrical to level 3. Whilst walking around dismantling everything, I also loot, because, well, if you can't tell already, I'm a bit of a hoarder. Whilst looting, I also stole this lamp. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more.